Awareness Month, Lupus here in Nigeria. Today's big hard fact is from the University of Ibadan College of Medicine. According to the University of Ibadan College of Medicine, 100,000 new lupus cases are diagnosed in Nigeria every year. 100,000 new lupus cases are diagnosed in Nigeria every year. 1 out of every 2,000 Nigerians diagnosed every year, if those figures are accurate. Or let me say that a different day. Let me bring it home, right? It's very likely that last year, 500 of the 1 million Lagosians who listen to Hard Facts received a lupus diagnosis. And in the spirit of Lupus Awareness Month, I'm dedicating today's show to those 500 listeners. I want you to understand that you are not alone. I want this show to give you context, insight, and foresight into the road ahead and fill you with hope for what the future holds. My guest is a creative copywriter, advertising practitioner, and lupus warrior, Mistura Olabi Abiola. Mistura, welcome to Hard Facts.
Hi, hello, good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Good afternoon. Good to have you here. Lagos, what questions or comments do you have about lupus? Are you or a loved one a lupus warrior? Women call me on 01465 7190. Men call me on 0700 993 993 993. Misty, first of all, many of our listeners are hearing about lupus for the first time, or they've heard about it, but it's a very vague or confusing concept for them. I remember the first time I heard about lupus was on an episode of House. House is a medical TV show from the 2000s, I believe. That was the first time I heard about it, and I looked into it at the time. But for people who are hearing about it for the first time, educate us. What is lupus?
Thank you for inviting me on this show. Lupus is an autoimmune disease, and by autoimmune, it means a disease that causes your immune system to attack your healthy organs. So it's like your immune system, the antibodies that are supposed to fight against illnesses or external diseases, right? They are kind of confused, or maybe they are overactive. There's no explanation for that yet. But instead of protecting your body, they decide to start attacking your healthy organs, your cells, your tissues, and the entire body system. And then lupus is not just like a standalone disease, right? Lupus is like, there are different types of lupus. There's systemic lupus erythematosus. That's like lupus that affects the entire body. So it means that you don't know where your immune system is attacking next. So it's like the kind of lupus that systemic, it means like throughout your entire body system. There is continuous lupus erythematosus. That one speaks to lupus that affects the skin, right? So it means that it's just your skin that it affects. And under that, we now have discoid lupus erythematosus as well. Discoid lupus affects the skin, right? It of sores in form of injuries on the skin, that you cannot really explain where it's coming from. So those are like the type of lupus. Then there are also like neonatal lupus. That is usually something that happens to children of people who have lupus, but it's usually like just at birth. And as they grow older, it fades away. And then some say that there is drug-induced lupus as well. So when you take some certain drugs, it affects lupus. But then the first two, the systemic lupus erythematosus and discoid lupus erythematosus, they are like the chronic illnesses, the ones that you have for the rest of your life, sadly. While the last two, the drug-induced ones, are usually caused by something. The neonatal one is like at birth for children or babies of those who have lupus. And even some normal babies also have that, but they get better like after a few days. So those are the type of lupus that exist. So like I said earlier, so it's like an autoimmune disease that doesn't stand alone. So with lupus comes some other complications. So because your immune system is attacking different body system or different organs, right? So it can trigger kidney failure, and that's like lupus nephritis, right? So when lupus attacks your brain, it's called neuropsychiatric lupus. So when lupus affects different parts of the body, there are different names for them. But because your immune system is fighting your body, right? So most of the complications of lupus are caused by the attack of your immune system on those organs. So so it's not like lupus is, the disease causes your immune system. So most of the things that we treat as lupus patients, they are like complications of lupus. So when lupus is active in your body, right, that's when they attack different body systems. And there are times when lupus is in remission. It means your immune system are like kind of controlled and they are not attacking you at that point. But when it attacks, it means that there's a body system that it is currently attacking. So at that point, you suffer from the complication of any of those things. So when it's attacking your kidney, for example, that leads to kidney failure. When it attacks your heart, you start to experience, symptoms of, different heart conditions. That's why lupus is so difficult to diagnose, because it mirrors or it kind of copies every symptom of every disease, because your body is causing you to fall ill internally. So so lupus is like different, your body causing you to have all of the different diseases or illnesses that exist. But it's not something that is caused by something external. It's your body doing that to you.
So essentially like having a security guard in your house and your security guard just decides to attack you.
Exactly.
How long ago did you start noticing symptoms yourself? How long did it take for you before you decided, okay, let me go and get a diagnosis?
Oh, okay. So my diagnosis happened like 7 years ago, but then like 6 months before the diagnosis, right? I started feeling really sick. I was an undergraduate at the university.
Okay.
I had to like travel from home to school. So I just really thought that it was stress, right? I was falling ill like every day, having malaria symptoms and stuff like that. But then it got to a point where, I woke up one morning and then my whole face was swollen, my body was swollen, and then it felt like my skin was peeling from the inside, right? So when that happened, the first thing that came was for us to go to the hospital. And when we got there, they said, it was an allergic reaction. They asked me what medications I've taken like recently. Prior to that time, I had been on malaria medication. So we assumed that maybe I was, reacting to one of the meds that I took. But then after that time, it got better. Then it started again. I started falling ill, and I was losing weight, right? And then my skin continued to peel. So my skin was peeling in such a way that I would have sores. Like in 5 minutes, the sores would just open up, and then my skin would feel like it was peeling. And I started having those rashes. So one of the first signs of lupus is the butterfly rash. It's called the malar rash. So it appears on your face. It feels like your skin is burnt in a way that forms like a butterfly across your face. So over your nose, over your lips, you see that rash there. So it was when that rash came that we had to now go to because we had been using like private hospitals before then. But when that rash came, and then my skin was still not getting better. Like that, it just felt like burns. When you have burns marks on your skin, it just comes up in the morning and stuff like that. And then my face would get swollen. So the doctors were saying a lot of things. They said it was kidney problems. They said it was allergic reaction and stuff like that. But we now had to go to a teaching hospital. So when we got there, they were not sure yet. I mean, the general physician, they were not sure. They were asking us to run tests, because at that point, I started losing my hair. And I started losing weight. I was seeing sores in my mouth, sores in my nose, on my head and stuff like that. I would sleep on the bed and wake up the next morning like the back of my hair, like the hair on my scalp would have fallen off the bed. I remember that at that time I even had Didi. I mean, the Nigerian Didi Esther, I had it on my head. And imagine waking up and the braids of your Didi made with your natural hair are already falling off. Just like when you pull tissue, when you're pulling out tissue from something, that kind of thing, like you already pulled out from my scalp, and that place was just bald. So that was when the doctors now decided to call in the rheumatologist. But it took about 6 months, but we didn't really get close to a diagnosis until we went to a teaching hospital, because the private hospitals were just treating like the symptoms. Like they didn't really they didn't know what was causing it, because I was having symptoms of malaria, typhoid, and even kidney issues. But they were treating all of those symptoms as opposed to like targeting the actual cause of it. So because of that, it took like 6 months. But by the time I got to the teaching hospital, the doctors asked us to run tests, right? And then they brought in the rheumatologist and they were able to diagnose. Yes.
So in some of my reading, I found that lupus may be caused by genetic predisposition triggered by environmental factors. So I want to
Yeah.
ask, what was your life like before the diagnosis?
Oh, okay. So this is actually a very interesting question because I mean, before diagnosis, even the doctors asked, they would ask if there's any history of maybe autoimmune disease in the family, right? And then they would ask about lifestyle. They would ask if you smoke, if you drink, and stuff like that. Yes, I was asked all of those questions. So at the time I was diagnosed, I was 19, and I can actually say that I was one of those boring Unilag students that were from class to hostel. So in fact, I was like one of those people that used to just sleep. Like if I was not in class, I would sleep.
Okay.
So even when I started falling ill, right, it was just kind of weird because I mean I don't stress myself like that. I don't do anything stressful. So where all of this fatigue and getting sick all the time, where was it coming from? Although I was coming from home at that time, but that was like the only time I had experienced stress. Sometimes I still think back and think maybe because of the stress I experienced at that point, that must have been what have triggered it. But prior to that time, my lifestyle was actually like laid back and cool and stress free. And no, we didn't even have any form of like autoimmune disease in the family. I know they usually ask if anybody in the family has had diabetes or something, but we didn't even have that in my family, not on my father's side or my mother's side. So it was just something that came out of nowhere, and then yeah.
Okay, so how did the diagnosis work? Because from what you've said, it can be difficult to diagnose. It was really difficult for your doctors to find it. So how did it work?
Okay, so before when I was diagnosed, actually there was really no actual test. But then recently, my doctors informed me that there's now a test that can actually diagnose lupus. But at that time, there was something that they called RNA or ANA strand test that they usually do to see if so there's something called ESR, right?
Okay.
It's just like that. It's a medical word for disease activity in your body.
Okay.
So apparently, if you're like normal, you're supposed to be between 0 to 20.
Okay.
But if you have lupus, your ESR would be like above 20.
Okay.
So that's like one way for them to find out. That's to show that there's disease activity.
Okay.
So doctors use, the time that I was diagnosed, that was one test that they did. They did ESR test. It's called erythema. I can't remember the full meaning, but it's to check disease activity.
Okay.
So they did that test, and there's some other tests as well. So that was when they knew that this was lupus. So that was the test that they were using then. But now I think there's been advancement in technology, so there's another test now that my doctors told me about recently that they also do in addition to this test. But first, what they did was to do like full blood count and check, your antibody rate and all of that, white blood cells and stuff like that. And they also check if you have like kidney issues. So you'll be doing a lot of scans, a lot of X-rays, a lot of urinalysis, urine tests, checking for your kidney health, based on whatever symptom that you're exhibiting at that time. Then during my time, they now checked for the ANA thing. They checked my ESR, and it was way over. It was like 100. It's supposed to be between 0 to 20. It was like 100. Even now that I don't fall as ill as I should, my ESR is never between that 20. Because as a lupus patient, there's always like disease activity. So most times now it's like 30 something. But for a normal person, it's supposed to be 0 to 20. So that's what they use to check. But now there's a test now that I think, gives them better results and makes diagnosis like way faster now.
Because of course, lupus is part of the great imitator, so it's notoriously difficult to diagnose directly. And since we don't have specific blood tests for it, I guess the doctors essentially have to do like a ruling out process. Lagos, please join the conversation. What questions do you have for our lupus warrior on the show today? Next week, Thursday at 5 p.m., I'll have a doctor join us to answer the questions from a medical point of view. But right now, we are talking about this from a lived experience point of view. And I've got a survivor, a warrior in the studio with me. Are you a lupus warrior yourself? Are you the loved one of a lupus warrior yourself? Go ahead and give us a call and share your story with us as well. 0700 993 993 993. 0700 993 993 993. We've got WhatsApp too. WhatsApp is 080 959 75805. And of course, women can join the conversation 01465 7190. 01465 7190. Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
How you doing? What's your name?
I'm doing. My name is Destiny.
You are anonymous? Did you say? Oh, sorry about that. Give us a call back if you can. 0700 993 993 993 01465 7190. Now let's talk about your hold on, hold that thought. 99.3. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
What's your name,
Good
sir?
evening.
Good evening.
Yeah. Just to talk about the cases of dermatologists in Nigeria, I think we have a very poor dermatology facility in Nigeria. Myself, someone in my family had psoriasis, and it took 2 years to diagnose. We went from hospital to hospital, going from one place to the other, and some people even thought it was cancer. That's how bad it was. Doctors would just come. The way hospitals handle their business in Nigeria is probably too worse, that they don't keep history from what they have served the patient from the previous treatment. So they just keep on saying, go for this test, go for that test. I so much feel for the other lady saying she's doing urinal test. And most of these things are probably viral diseases. Even it got to a point that they had to reduce the person's immune system just to be able to fight the psoriasis. So I think that Nigerian hospitals, HMOs, and all of them, they have to speed up and find a better way to do their business. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Of course, we're not talking about dermatologists now, but it is an interesting angle to the conversation. I do, however, want to talk about current treatment for you. What does your current treatment regimen look like? Are you on medication? How frequently are you going in for checkups, Misty?
Because lupus is a lifelong disease, right? So being on medication is like a lifelong thing. You would always be on medication. So personally, over the years, my medications have actually increased or decreased based on however I'm feeling, right? So I go for my checkups every month, and I always have to go with my blood work. So I have some tests blood and urine tests that I have to do every month, and that informs, the dosage of my medication. So currently, I'm on meds, morning and night. There are some lupus patients who are on morning, afternoon, and night, based on whatever is actually going on with them at that time. So doctors usually tell us that, over time, as you get better, your meds reduce. And it happens, but then once they notice that, you're already having flares. So flares are what we call when lupus, that's what we call lupus crisis. So when you're having a high disease activity, it's called a flare. So when they see that, this person is getting close to a flare, for example, our doctors will increase your meds, and when you feel better, they reduce it. So I'm currently on meds. I have to do blood checks and urine tests every month. And then because of the other lupus complications, right, my doctors also have to work with other doctors from, other units outside rheumatology, for example. So as I'm seeing my doctors every month, I have to also see doctors in other departments too that are working alongside my doctors. So the medications are not just for lupus; they are also for the side effects of the lupus meds. They are also for the complications of lupus and other medical conditions I may have developed from lupus. So it's like the meds actually, it's like I don't know how to put it, but then it's like a legion of meds, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
So, but then So there are times when the lupus is in remission, for example, when disease activity is kind of low. So the doctors will give like 2-3 months appointment. But then for me, I've been on like 1 month appointment for like the past 3 years because there are other lupus complications that are being managed. So they have to keep monitoring me and all of that. But yes, the meds are like a regular everyday thing for every lupus patient out there.
My goodness. McDonald Ezenwa says, my cousin just dropped out of Unizik because of this terrible disease. Hers is so bad, she got lumps all over and she cannot come out. She missed 2 sessions in school and had to drop out, and there is no cure. Which brings me to the next part of my question. There is no cure, yes, Misty? It's just management for the rest of your life, yeah?
Yes, there's no cure yet. So we're hopeful that something happens, something changes that soon, but there's no cure yet.
Where are you getting treatment?
Oh, okay, so for me, my doctors are I'm being managed at LASUT, that's Lagos State University Teaching Hospital.
Okay.
But I also have some doctors in Lupus, Lagos University Teaching Hospital.
Okay.
So the way it works is like the Department of Rheumatology in LASUT and Lupus are kind of in collaboration. So it's easy to switch or move between those units. I was diagnosed in LASUT, but at a point because of proximity, I was going to lose. But now I'm closer to LASUT, so I'm being managed at LASUT. But then the doctors kind of work together because they know one another and then they know all of the patients as well. So yes, I'm being managed at LASUT.
Okay. Lagos, we'll take a break. When we come back from this break, we'll keep talking to our lupus warrior on the show with us today. May is Lupus Awareness Month. Lupus is a very debilitating disease. It affects so many people around the world, including Nigeria. In Nigeria, 100,000 new cases are diagnosed in Nigeria every year. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. This is Hard Facts on Nigeria Info 99.3.
Hey movie lovers, I've got something for you. Something is happening on the 20th of May 2023. Is something that we look forward to, we movie lovers. If you're a movie lover, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Is the AMVCA, the Africa Magic Viewers Choice Awards, and it's big. For every single time that this comes up, all eyes are always on the award night. Your favorite celebrities are on the red carpet. Everything entertaining that you can think of this year. So you heard me. In a couple of days, Lagos will stand still for one of Africa's most prestigious awards events of all time. This one is like our very own Oscars, and it's holding at the Eco Convention Center, Victoria Island, Lagos. MTN is doing something. They are sponsoring the best short film or online video category, and the winner for that night will walk away with a whopping 1 million naira, my dear, and other fantastic prizes courtesy of MTN. But now, that's not all. You can also get the chance to be one of the special guests at the AMVCA simply by giving a full description of what you would wear to the event on their social media post on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at MTNNG. I mean, can you just imagine? Lucky winners will join MTN in an all-expenses paid experience for Africa's most glamorous entertainment events courtesy of MTN. So, what are you waiting for? Come and do the thing so that you can stand the chance to win an exclusive ticket to be a special guest at this event. Or if you're a filmmaker or a content creator, you have a category, okay? And the winner, do not forget, will walk away with a whopping what? Yes, you heard me right, 1 million naira and other fantastic prizes courtesy of MTN. So get on it.
This is an infomercial. More news and information coming up. We'll be back in a moment.
Uncle Dentist, what are cavities? And how does Colgate protect my teeth from cavities? Does it use Kung Fu?
No, dear. Most tooth pains are caused by tooth holes called cavities. When you brush daily with Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection, its expert formula locks natural calcium in our teeth and helps protect them from cavities.
It's time to upgrade to the world's most chosen toothpaste, Colgate, because Colgate locks calcium in.
Keeps cavities out!
Colgate is recommended by the Nigerian Dental Association.
Why are they my first choice? Bros, it makes sense. No minimum deposit, small money, that's all I had to start. And quick withdrawals, uncle. Oh yeah, those payouts saved me sometimes. Click withdraw. Correct. But my main reason for choosing Cheer for You, I had plenty to learn. The number one thing my papa always taught was to learn from winners. That's what I do every day. You have seen me copy winning traders with shareforyou.com. Abi, simple.
Mom, Dad, how are we celebrating Children's Day this year? Last year, you didn't make it up to us.
Don't worry, your daddy will take you out.
And mommy will find a place to go.
Oh, not again.
I overheard your conversations. My family and I will be going to Fun Factory for Children's Day party. My sister insisted it's a lovely, secure, and serene place with unique rides, fun activities, and lots more. I suggest this place. We will love it.
Fantastic! Let's go!
Have your kids come and experience an extraordinary, fun-filled Children's Day extravaganza with family and friends in Fun Factory at number 10, Lai Yusuf Crescent off Admiralty Way, Lekki Phase 1. Kids enjoy amazing activities like prize presentations, arcade games, competitions, performances, dance, good music, and lots of fun. Adults could also partake in exciting outdoor games. Don't miss this fun. Children's Day extravaganza will be happening on the 27th day of May 2023. Reservations are made upon arrival. For more information, visit our Instagram page, Fun Factory NG, or call 0809-828-8888. Sales of tickets will be at the Fun Factory office.
Education is a key driver for growth for any economy. It's time to beam the spotlight on how technology can be used to strengthen the education sector, level the playing field, and make education accessible for all. Join us on EdTech Mondays on Nigeria Info Lagos at 6:45 a.m. every Monday as we discuss the key education stakeholders on emerging topics in education and the use of technology for addressing any challenges. EdTech Mondays is brought to you by MasterCard Foundation and Co-Creation Hub Nigeria.
Hello, Mrs. Martins.
Yes. Oh, Mrs. Johnson, how may I help you?
Junior's body temperature is high and he's complaining about headaches and body aches.
Not to worry. Get Bruston and suspension.
Okay, ma. I'll call you back.
Bruston and Suspension for Children is a sweet-tasting brand of ibuprofen which provides relief against toothache, pains, and fever in children after 30 minutes.
Hello, ma. Oh, Junior, stop that.
Is everything okay, Mrs. Johnson?
Yes, ma. Junior is fine now. In fact, Junior, sorry, ma. I'll call you back.
Brustin and Suspension for Children. Always take the product after meal. If symptoms persist after 2 days, consult your doctor. A quality product from Rambaxay.
My friend, you don't buy new mattress?
Yes, so they even dash me bag of rice join.
For real?
It is real. Buy any Mocha Flora or Mocha Wellbeing Regina mattress with 2 pillows and get a bag of rice free. Visit any accredited Mocha dealer nationwide to purchase. Offer valid while stocks last. Terms and conditions apply. Mocha, adding comfort to life.
Are you tired of using ordinary lubricants that fail to give your engine the power and protection it deserves? Introducing Shell Helix Lubricants, now available in Nigeria. No more frequent visits to the mechanic. No more funny noise coming from your engine. No more abnormal fuel consumption. You can now say goodbye to all that smoke from your car's exhaust.
Shell Helix Lubricants uses Pure Plus technology, a technology that protects your engine from dirt, gets rid of impurities, and improves engine performance. Need guaranteed engine protection? Use Shell Helix Lubricants. Now available at AP and NU service stations nationwide.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the biggest football fan festival is back. It's Goalfest, the Festival of Champions. Featuring exciting games, food, comedy, live music by some of the very best Nigerian music superstars. And you can watch the UEFA Champions League final on a huge screen. Goalfest 2023 will take place on the 10th of June at the Balmoral Convention Center, Federal Palace Hotel, Amadu Bello Way, Victoria Island, Lagos.
Time 2 p.m.
Get your tickets now available at www.goalfestnigeria.com. Goalfest 2023 is powered by Femi and the Gang and Football Republic. Proudly refreshed by Pepsi.
Sponsored by BetWinner.
If you're wondering how I keep up with my groove, I stay hydrated even when I'm on the move. I'm not gonna let anything weigh me down cause I'm on the go. So have you refreshed and gingered with seaway water? Oh yeah, make you drink more water. Drink more water. And mind your business. Mind your business. Seaway for every family, live life to the fullest. Make you drink more water. Drink more water.
75cl, 150cl, and dispenser water. Available in all stores near you. Also, download the Seaway Home mobile app to enjoy free delivery to your doorstep. Always choose the water you can trust. Seaway, for every family.
The Institute of Directors Nigeria is excited to announce its 40 years of existence. It's been 4 decades of visionary leadership and corporate governance, and we couldn't have done it without you. Join us for an evening of glamour and celebration at a special anniversary gala as we take a trip down memory lane to commemorate our journey so far. Special guest of honor, His Excellency Muhammad Buhari, GCFR, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Chairman of the occasion, His Excellency Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, GCFR. Guest of honor, His Excellency Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, FIOD, Governor, Lagos State. Alhaji Abdul Samad Rabiu, FIOD, CON, Chairman, BUA Group. Chief Host, Dr. Mrs. Ijen Jidemma, FIOD, President and Chairman of Council, IOD Nigeria. Date, Wednesday, 17th May 2023. Venue, Eco Hotel and Suites, Victoria Island, Lagos, by 5 p.m. prompt. For sponsorship and participation, please call 0706 461 3903 or visit www.iodnigeria.org. IOD Nigeria, inspiring leaders, safeguarding business.
Wake up, sleepyhead! It's Girls' Day Out.
Fine. What's the plan for today?
Okay, so we have a 9 a.m. hair and nail appointment at the salon. At 3 p.m., we're going to watch the new superhero movie. Have drinks with Emeka and his friend at 6. At 8, we're going to try out the new restaurant at the mall and...
All that in one day? How?
Easy, my love. Start your day with a bowl of cereal made specially with Olympic milk. And let's get going.
Enjoy the goodness of Olympic milk to own your day. Olympic milk. Stay active.
Being the best.
All right, tape rolling. Take 50. Action.
Requires doing whatever it takes.
Cut. Let's go again.
So, as you give it your best shot,
tape rolling. Take 51. Action.
Stay energized with Super Commando Energy Drink. And fire on.
Super Commando.
Fire on to the African Magic Viewers' Choice Awards 2023.
Super Commando.
Super Commando Energy Drink. Fire on.
Uncle Dentist, what are cavities? And how does Colgate protect my teeth from cavities? Does it use Kung Fu?
No, dear. Most tooth pains are caused by tooth holes called cavities. When you brush daily with Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection, its expert formula locks natural calcium in our teeth and helps protect them from cavities.
It's time to upgrade to the world's most chosen toothpaste, Colgate, because Colgate locks calcium in.
Keeps cavities out!
Colgate is recommended by the Nigerian Dental Association.
Welcome back to your number one talk, news, and sports station. This is Nigeria Info.
Lagos, I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. Good evening. How you doing? How's it going? This evening, we're talking about lupus because it's Lupus Awareness Month. And like I've been saying to you, lupus is an autoimmune disease. We've talked about it for the first few minutes of this evening's Big Hard Fact. It's an autoimmune condition. What it basically means is that it makes the body's immune system, so the white blood cells that usually fights germs and viruses and diseases, it makes it start fighting the body itself. And it may be caused by genetic predisposition triggered by environmental factors. And my guest on today's show is a creative copywriter and advertising practitioner. She's also a lupus warrior. She tweeted a thread and I saw it and I said to myself, okay, I have to talk to her. She has to come and talk to you so that you know that you are not alone if you are one of the 500 of the 1 million Lagosians living with this condition. I say 500 of the 1 million because 100,000 new lupus cases are diagnosed in Nigeria every year. So 1 out of every 2,000 Nigerians every year. So Hard Facts, with its 1 million listeners or over 1 million listeners, it means that last year we likely had 500 of those 1 million Lagosians diagnosed with lupus. Are you one of them? Are you a loved one of someone with lupus? Have you been listening to my conversation with Mistura Abisola Owolabi? She's been talking to us about living with lupus, about being a lupus warrior. and also talking to us about what treatment looks like, what being diagnosed, what getting diagnosed was like, what her life was like before the diagnosis, how the diagnosis was done, how long it took before she got a diagnosis, how long it took before she started to notice symptoms. We've talked about all of that. Now, I want to talk about the thread that you put out on Twitter, Misty. You praised the doctors and other health workers who attend Lupus Warriors at LUS. Could you tell us what they're doing right?
Okay, so I had to do that thread because I mean they're like a really, really set of awesome people. And one of the many things that they are doing right is how empathetic they are. We know that most of the experiences that I've had in the past about visiting a public or government-owned hospital, that the doctors there just want to treat you and move on, but because they understand that lupus is a lifelong condition, so it feels like they are even ready to be your friend and your partner every step of the way. So it's like when you have a doctor and they understand like what exactly is wrong with you. Like you go for appointments and you don't even need to remind your doctor of how you were feeling 2 months ago because they actually still remember. It feels like a personal relationship with every of the patients. And when I say this, it's not just about me, right? Everyone with lupus that I know have that same experience with our doctors. They make you feel like, oh, they're actually listening to you. They know your condition. Even when you come and then you're telling them, oh, it's like your doctors will remember that, oh, I placed you on this meds even before they look at your file. And then they're telling you, oh, how are you feeling now? Do you want to reduce your meds? And it's such a personal relationship that because some of our meds make you gain so much weight. So imagine coming for your appointment, your doctor is asking you, do you want us to change this med? Are you gaining too much weight? Is it affecting you, emotionally or things like that? I even go for appointments and, my doctors are asking me about work. They're telling me that if there's any issues at work, they are willing to send a letter. In fact, the consultant, the professor, like the lead consultant of rheumatology at LUT will tell me that if I want him to come to my office physically, he can do that, to talk to my employers. Like that's how it is. I mean, we have doctors that you tell them, oh, I can't afford my meds. And then they are telling you, oh, can we prescribe something even cheaper? There was a time I was out of a job and my doctors were even offering to buy my meds. That's how personal they actually take us. Like it feels like, they really make you feel like, oh, you are not in this alone and they are with you every step of the way. They are accessible, they are understanding. And even when, it can be really hard to deal with lupus patients because most of us, we get to a period where, we're threatening to stop taking our meds, we're saying we're tired, or we're threatening suicide and all of that. But the doctors are ready to even offer counsel and all of that. And then when it comes to, managing you and your treatment in other departments, they are willing to, call those other doctors. And the way these public hospitals are set up, right, the departments cannot really work together because you have to physically move from one place to the other. But the doctors are willing to do that. They'll go to other departments and say, oh, my lupus patient is coming here. What is wrong with her? I need to know. I need to understand. I mean, it's not even something that they're expected to do. You're supposed to be the one to maybe get letters from that department and send to them. But they go the extra mile for you because they want to be sure that, oh, this med that you're taking from that department does not, affect the one you're taking for lupus, right? And they follow up with you. They call you. If you've not been coming for appointments, your doctors will call you and say, we've not seen you in a while. Is there anything wrong? Those are the things that they really do that I felt like I just had to, celebrate them and recognize them.
Oh, and then you think about the fact that they're threatening to not your doctors, of course, but resident doctors, especially in Nigeria, are threatening to go on strike from tomorrow. 5-day strike. Some of the things they're asking for is an increase in their salaries, a 200% increase in their salaries because of inflation. And then you hear the level of care that some of these doctors, at least your doctors, put into ensuring that their patients with chronic illnesses are okay. And it warms the heart and it makes you hope that the nation starts to repay them by, increasing their salary, first things first. Now, what are some of the other health centers in Nigeria that are handling the care of lupus warriors? Do you know?
Okay, so because of there's a limited number of rheumatologists in Nigeria. So the
So
ones that I
you keep
know.
saying rheumatologist. What's a rheumatologist?
Okay, rheumatologists are doctors that treat diseases like diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, and all of autoimmune diseases in general. Yeah, that's what they specialize in. So diseases that are caused by your body acting against your organs, that's what they treat. So like diabetes, like I mentioned. So they are the ones that manage lupus. But they work together with dermatologists. Dermatologists are the skin doctors, right? Because there are lupus that affect the skin majorly. So they also diagnose lupus. So in Nigeria, from what I've heard, most of the rheumatologists are like in Lagos. That's why a lot of patients go to Lasut and Lupus to get treatment. But aside that, I know that the rheumatologists in Abuja as well and Enugu, because we have a community of lupus warriors and we always share information. But beyond government hospitals, right? I don't think that there are other places or other healthcare centers that you can get treatment for lupus. So government-owned hospitals are like the best place to get access to that specialist care that you would need. Yeah.
Talk to me about the support group, the support group for lupus warriors. I just caught you saying that in passing. Talk to me about that. How was it created? Why was it created? What happens in the group?
Oh, okay. So I actually belong to two different groups, but then the groups were created by lupus warriors themselves.
Okay.
So I mean, the first group that I joined, it was after I got diagnosed, and it was even my doctors that actually told me about the group.
Okay.
So the group was created by a founder who has had lupus for 30 years.
Okay.
So she created a group to provide like a community where we can talk about lupus, share experiences, and also solicit funds.
Okay.
So because the treatment for lupus is really expensive, so a lot of lupus patients suffer from a lot of complications because they can't afford their meds. So the support groups are actually there to provide support and also get funds, talk with private individuals or people who can sponsor medications for lupus patients, and even cases when lupus warriors need like organ transplant and stuff like that. So the groups are there for us to solicit funds, and also to just share like emotional support, share experiences. And there are usually doctors on those groups, right? So the groups are only open to lupus warriors or their family members. So there are kids who have lupus, right? So their parents are also on the group. So we can ask our doctors questions. We can also, anybody going through any form of challenge financially, we share on the group. Everybody tries to solicit support and all of that. And in other cases where, where we have to buy meds in bulk. So people bring deals of, I have this place where you can buy the drugs cheaper. This pharmacy said that if I'm buying 100, the price will be reduced. So, the groups exist for things like that. So everybody comes together and we, pay and get the drugs the meds at a reduced price. So those are like the things that we do on the group chat.
I understand, of course, that cost is a major concern with lupus treatments because you're not treating just lupus, you're also treating other conditions that arise as a result of the lupus. You're treating other ailments as well. Are there NGOs or foundations or government agencies out there who are helping lupus warriors access funding for treatment?
Actually, there are none. The only ones I know are the support groups that were created by lupus patients themselves. So there's a foundation that we just that was formed from one of the support groups. It's called Lureg Foundation, but it was founded by a lupus warrior herself. And then what the foundation actually does is to just write proposals to government, try to solicit funds from private individuals, but there's really nobody or no institution that is actually doing that now. just the support group. So the founders use like their influence or talk to people that they know, try to speak with celebrities and stuff like that. I mean, during this month now, we've been doing a lot of that. The founder has been going out, trying to speak with a lot of people and even trying to talk to government to create like a form of insurance, health insurance for lupus patients. But then there's really nobody or no, should I say, external support beyond what lupus patients are doing for themselves.
How about HMOs? Do they provide? Does any of them provide coverage for lupus, or is it too chronic an illness for them to take on?
Actually, none of them do. I mean, I've been on a lot of health insurance, like from my workplace, but then all of them will tell you, oh no, the HMO doesn't cover lupus, and it's understandable because of the cost.
Now, if someone thinks that they have symptoms, what should they do?
I think the first thing would be to run to the nearest hospital and even ask to see a rheumatologist. But I think the first step would be to even run to the emergency ward, for example. Initially, that's the first thing I think anyone should do, because okay, you might think it's lupus and it's not lupus, because like I said, it mimics the symptoms of every other disease.
Right.
But the first thing would be to run to the hospital and even ask to see a rheumatologist, because the rheumatologist is like the doctors that would diagnose lupus. They already know the symptoms, so it's easier for them. So a lot of people get longer diagnosis because they don't go to the right doctors. So the doctors treat them for the symptoms as opposed to treating the root cause. So I think anybody who feels like they are experiencing symptoms, that a lot of symptoms that seem to point into that lupus direction, first thing they should do is run to the nearest hospital and ask to see a rheumatologist. Yeah.
Okay, run to the nearest hospital, ask to see a rheumatologist. If you just joined the show, hi, how you doing? We've been talking about lupus. Lupus is an autoimmune condition. It makes the body's immune system, the white blood cells, the one that fights germs and viruses and disease, it makes it start to fight the body itself. And no one really knows what causes it, and it often imitates a number of other illnesses. It's notoriously difficult to diagnose directly. We don't have a specific blood test for it. The blood tests that we do have are for ruling it out. A positive result could mean lupus, or it could mean a number of other very similar diseases. So doctors often rely on what is called differential diagnosis. And like I said at the top of the show, and again when we came back from that break, 100,000 new lupus cases are diagnosed in Nigeria every year. 1 out of 2,000 Nigerians every year. It is a huge thing. May is the month for raising awareness about it. And like you heard from my warrior on the show today, if you have symptoms, she shared her symptoms with us when we started the show. If you missed it, you can listen back again on our podcast. Our podcast is available to stream on any service where you stream your podcast. So you can simply log on to nigeriainfo.fm and listen again to the conversation, and you can hear her talk about some of her symptoms. But I would love to thank you so much for talking to us, Ms. Tura Owolabi Abiola. Thank you for sharing your story with us. Thank you for sharing your story or online. They also have an account where if people want to donate to help other lupus warriors continue to stay in the fight, you can find her on Twitter at Miss Turants, There she shares details for how to rally together for other lupus warriors, because it is quite the expensive disease to treat. But Misty, thank you for your time and all the best. I'm rooting for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much.
All right, Lagos, stay here. We'll take a break. After the news at 6 o'clock, let's talk about NYSC. NYSC has turned 50. What was your service experience like? Have you served? Where did you serve? What impact did serving make on your life? I'm Sandra Ezekwesili.
Have your say in what we say.
You always make good points.
We talk the talk, and walk the walk. We are 99.3
You talk, we listen.
Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
We all love